Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to my channel. My name is DrWeez, and I'm a South African overclocker. So today we've got the ProOC Cup Stage 3, Round 2. Alright, so what we've got today is Geekbench 3. We'll be using the X99 platform with the Intel Core i7-6950. We'll be using the, let's just go across to the motherboard view, and then I can show you guys what we've got on the bench already. Let's just transition that across. Right, okay, so what we've got set up on the bench is the MSI X99A XPower Gaming Titanium Edition. So this is a new board that I've got in the lab. So this will be my first time testing it. What we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're just going to update the BIOS quickly. And then once that's done, we're going to strip off all the components that we don't need for OC. We're going to slap some Vaseline on, and then we're going to bolt down the pot and then run from there. The power today will be delivered by the Corsair Elite Overclockers AX1500i. And let's just kill that desktop audio. Okay, and yep, the memory is supplied by HyperX. We've got a set of 2666 Cherry Blacks in there. Sorry, I've got messages flooding in here at the moment. Okay, so Timothy, if you're watching, shh. All right, so let's get on with it. We're going to start off by updating the BIOS and then moving on from there. Okay, so yeah, let's power on and get cracking. So today's session is going to be a quick one. I've got approximately 56 minutes to wrap this all up today, and it should be quite a quick one. The longest is going to be obviously just preparing the board. It's going to take us a good 10 minutes or so, and I'll walk you through that whole process, and then yeah, one quick profile, and well, not even a profile, one quick test. We just get the process up to 5G, and memory maybe 3200 thereabouts, and see what we can get done. Alright, so let's get into DOS mode. So I've just got a USB there that I've got that just boots into DOS, and then on this USB I've got all of my sort of DOS stuff that I need to run. So we're just going to go to X99A TE, and then in this folder I've got TFTP or FPT, and then the new BIOS. So if anybody's looking for this BIOS, I think it is available on HWBot. IMS.113. If not, I forgot to put -F. If not, then you can just drop me a message and I'll send it off to you. Okay, so FTT -F E7A21 IMS.113. I think I need the new version of FPT. Okay, well, let's go ahead. I think this isn't a XOC BIOS, so we might be able to flash this one from the BIOS. Let's go ahead and try that. I need to just get a little bit of nitrogen out. That version of FPT that I got there is for Z170. Let's just have a look if there is one in the Dropbox here. Well, anyway, let's try here in the BIOS quickly. So we can go to mFlash, and we just click on there, then it should reboot and boot into mFlash. Okay, using Inflash is pretty much the same. Just get into your folder and select your bias. Okay, so while this is running, let's just plug the temperature probe in so we can see that the temperature is not getting to some crazy the CPU is not getting to some crazy temperature. Obviously, we'll need to remove all of this when we do the preparation work. So for those of you tuning into my stream for the first time, let's have a look at what the layout what we've got here. So if we just transition this across while that bias is busy updating. Right, so on the screen, we've got the system telemetry over here. So that's going to tell you exactly in real time what's happening with my temperature. So in the lab at the moment, we've got 21.4 degrees. The CPU temperature at the moment is 30 degrees. Okay, so we're not too worried about that. We're just keeping it a little cool while we update the BIOS. Then we've got the hardware over here. That should basically be describing what I'm running today. I notice that I haven't updated the text file, and I'm going to go ahead and just do that very quickly. And while the BIOS is updating, other than that, you can see the chat window. Guys, if you are watching on YouTube or Facebook, unfortunately, I do only monitor the Twitch chat while I'm OCing. It's just too much to monitor. So if you have got any questions, please feel free to jump onto Twitch and just ask me a question there. Then on the left-hand side at the top there, we've got obviously the actual bench and then the lab. So when you're switching between views, you can see what's happening. You've always got all the information you need to see on the screen in real time at any given time. All right, so let me just update the text file very quickly. So it's a Core i7 6950X. We are not using G-School Tridents. We're using HyperX Fury Black. The SSD we'll be using today, I think is, if I'm not mistaken, we'll be using the HyperX. We'll be using the HyperX. Where can I get? Yep, that's the SSD we'll be using today, which is the HyperX drive. It's quite an oldie, but works like a dream still. We'll just reboot, and actually we can switch off the system in a second, and we're going to do that preparation. So let's just go HyperX 120G SSD and MSI X99A XPower Gaming Titanium. In Titanium CUDA Master JetFlo, Corsair Elite, and we are using Kryonaut. Alright, so that's all updated. Alright, so the next step is let's get this board ready for liquid nitrogen, and I'll transition across so you can have a look, see what I'm busy with it the whole time. Okay, first step is just removing the screws from everything. I've got a little tub here somewhere I can use. So I just need to open up the chat window. I haven't done that yet. Okay. Welcome, Mini Coopers IC. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. So we've got PWM. There's a shroud over the I/O ports. So all in all, not too many screws. And then we'll remove the Wi-Fi card as well. This is not necessary for OC. So submitted in the round of the competition. I haven't even checked. The stage opened yesterday. So we should maybe have 1 or 2 submissions already. Let's have a quick look so we can talk about it while I'm busy with this. So we are in the ProOC Cup season. And stage 2. Alright, so we've had no submissions yet into the Geekbench 3 multi-core stage. Alright, so that should remove the shroud. So that's a nice little piece of material that just improves the aesthetics of the board. We're going to remove the Wi-Fi card. Okay, that's just holding by 1 screw and then it should just pop up. And then let's just check we've got all the screws out. Yep, so now this shroud should be removable, or this heatsink. There we go. So if you have a look at the thermal pad, it looks like there's nice even contact across all of the MOSFETs, and then this one here has got no thermal pad, it's just aesthetics. Okay, the last one we want to do is we want to remove the south bridge, or the chipset. I don't think it's called south bridge anymore. And let's have a look how that, it's just 3-4 screws, not too difficult. So this motherboard is certified by SteelSeries. All you gamers out there that were wanting certified components. Right, and then there's a power connector. Right. So the nice thing about this heatsink is that you can remove this little piece of metal here that would just interfere on this part here with the cooling, and then you can put the south bridge or the chipset back on again. Now, I'm maybe not sure if that is really possible, because they might have glued it, but definitely by what the looks of it, you should be able to then just use the chipset cooling without all the pretty looking pieces. During the HW World Tour, the guys are running the X99 setups without any cooling on the south bridge. I don't think it's 100% necessary, but I'm still of the impression that it's a good idea, at least. So the next step is just to Vaseline the board up. If you've got a serial number on the board, this is normally the point where I would put some nail polish, clear nail polish onto the serial number. The reason for that is when it comes time to clean the board, sometimes it's easier just to throw it into the dishwasher, especially if it's damaged, if it's just no longer working, you just need to clean it up. And to do that, if you don't protect the serial number, you lose it in the washing process, which means there's no chance of you ever returning it or claiming from insurance, whatever your reasoning might be for cleaning the board. I've yet to have a return rejected due to there being nail polish on the serial number, but now that I've told everybody what I do, it's possible they might look out for that and start rejecting my claims. This one screw has been a bit difficult. Okay, let's not hold us around too much with that. I'll leave this all off and run without today. So next step, Vaseline. So the important parts to get your Vaseline on, definitely on this whole area here by your MOSFETs. You really need to make sure that you get that covered nicely. You want to avoid getting anything into the memory slots and into the PCI slots. Anywhere where you're making contact, you really want to avoid getting Vaseline in there. So you want to make sure that you get a decent coverage sort of in this whole area here, anywhere where there might be a little bit of condensation, seeping. So if you've been watching the previous videos, you'll know that my preferred choice is just with a big paintbrush and take it from there. Right, so I just use a stock standard Vaseline, unscented, it's my preference, and then I'll just get a good dose of it on and then just try and get a good lathering. So while I've been talking, I missed the vital step, which is just to put a little bit of that on there, and then there's another one to the side here. No, I've already nail polished that one up, so it's already protected. Okay, so we can continue. Once we're done with this side, we then heat it up a little bit just to get the Vaseline into those hard to reach places, especially here by these chokes. Just really get it in there, and then I use a syringe with Vaseline in to get in between, into some of the hard to reach places. And I can show you what that looks like, and that's this one here. So how you get the Vaseline into the syringe, well, you can force it from the top, or what I like to do is just melt the Vaseline in a tub with a hairdryer and suck it up. Okay, but with the broadwell-e, you don't run at exceptionally cold temperatures because of the cold bug. So you'll find you get less of a full board freezing effect like you do on Skylake and a couple of other chips. So you can run full pot. So you're not having to really juice up too much of the board. You don't have to do the whole board, that's for sure. And we're definitely not going to be running the memory on cold. I've yet to see a requirement to do that with broadwell-e because the IMC isn't able to run exceptionally high frequencies. That's just my experience so far. You might find when it comes to fixed frequency qualifiers or competitions or something to that effect, where you need to really tighten up the memory timings, it might become worthwhile to run the memory on cold on this platform. Otherwise, I see absolutely no reason to do it. Your B dies can run fairly tight already at the lower megahertz. So I don't see anybody running 10-10-10 just yet at 3200 or 3400. It might come, like I said, when you start hitting qualifiers that are hitting you with a 5G limit on the processor, then you need to squeeze every bit of performance you can get. And to do that, you might need to run the memory on cold. Alright, so there's an interesting little button on the board there. I don't know what that's for. Flashback, bias flashback, okay. Okay. Okay, so that's the top side done. We'll flip it over and get the other side prepared. Here again, same method. There's just lather on the Vaseline. Make sure you're getting all the important bits. So the method I use is one way. I go up and down to get the first coat on, and I go sideways to make sure that I've hit all the nooks and crannies. Not rocket science, guys. And that is my motherboard installation preparation done. Okay, so let's just get this heated up quickly. Get all of this out of the road now. Okay, so this is going to be a little noisy. Okay. Once that's done, I then like to slap its own personalized piece of paper towel on. Each motherboard gets its own piece, and that normally goes straight on after the Vaseline. So that acts as like a little spud or sponge to keep my workstation as clean as possible, not lathered in Vaseline. And just paint a little extra on the places I want it to really stick. And that's that. Let's just flip that over again, and it's a little bit of heat to the side. Okay, that's done. Now this step normally you don't need to worry about, but because I want to bench straight away, just going to hit it with a little bit of cool air just to solidify that gas. Right. Okay, so let's have a look. See, next we just need to cover up and get cold. Let's not diddy daddle. Right, so first thing, pins, where up the pins. Here we go. So I'm being super lazy and just putting my standoffs directly into the standard mounts on the X99. I do have another bracket which I could put in here so I can use the normal in-out standoff, but you know what, this works just as well. And yeah, we're not running super cold temperatures and all that sort of stuff, but this is fine. So just a little bit of 4mm threaded rod and bang that in. Right, so let's just start with the paper towel. Right, so the paper towel method is not very scientific. What you're wanting to do is you just want to get paper towel into several layers, trying to fill up all the voids so that you can keep the moisture out and the air out. If you really got the time and the patience, you can make this really look nice and neat, and as long as it's functional, I'm happy. So you just really just get it into all the little gaps and the voids. Everywhere you want to try and keep that moisture out, just get paper towel in. So if you're wondering, I use the Scott's shop towel that you can't buy in most countries around the world. Every time I go to Taiwan, I basically bring back as many rolls as possible in my luggage, and then use it very sparingly. A lot of these towels are used many times, especially for this method. I mean, it's not necessary to throw it away after every use. Okay, once we've got a nice functional bit of insulation, we can go ahead and apply thermal Grizzly. So what I've done is I've got a tub of thermal Grizzly. For X99, I found it easier than using the syringe, just purely because I put a lot on to start and then thin it out. So I found that my wastage is a lot lower when using that method. And to do that, I just use the spatula and apply it. So I like to get an even layer spread out on the CPU. So this part of the session is normally done before I go live, because I also like to just test the system once I've mounted before going live in case there are any complications. But today I really only have an hour to stream, a full session, so everything's getting bolted together, and we're just going to do a couple of quick runs for the ProOC Cup. We'll play with the memory a bit and see what we can do. It should run XMP very easily, and then 3300, 3400 probably is around about where we might max this out on this platform. I haven't tested this IMC before, and this is the first time I'm using the retail chip. The engineering sample was not absolutely fantastic, so I'm hoping that this one will fare a little bit better. Right, so temperature is back. Ah, crying a bucket. That's twice today. Okay, spring loads. So I've had questions, how tight do I make the pot? Well, for X99, because we're not running at freezing temperatures, what I like to do is I just like to get it even to the point where there's a resistance when moving from side to side. So not spanner tight, but not too loose. The trick is there's actually no right or wrong way. When tightening the pot, you've got to do whatever you feel comfortable with. Some people like to not even tighten it. Some people like to have it spanner tight. The trick is to try and find something that will consistently give you the same result. And for me, that is to get it to that point where it can move, but it can't really move. I'm normally quite happy with it at that setting. Alright, so the motherboard takes 2 CPU power connectors, and for those of you that have PSUs with a CPU power connector that you can't split, so right, you can see that I split there, you're going to have a problem connecting your second connector onto this board. There's a big choke right next to the connector, and like the Cooler Master 1500 silent power, I think it is, that power supply, you can't split the connectors, and it is problematic. You can't get that second on. In theory, we're not pushing a hell of a lot of voltage through, so you really shouldn't maybe need that connector. But call me old-fashioned. If they give me the place to connect it, I like to connect it. I don't know why. Okay, SSD power, and we're ready to rock and roll. So voltage read points, I think we'll connect those up quickly as well. I need the connectors, I think I should have here. Right, so we've got 2 grounds. Okay, so we've got 2 grounds connected, and now we need to connect up to point. So I think what we'll do is we'll focus on the DDR memory, and we'll go with DDR1, and we'll go with the CPU core 1 voltage. And what we'll do is we'll just wait to switch the machine on and connect them up one at a time so I know which is which. Alrighty, so that's the basics of that. Very exciting TV. And let's switch on and see if we are still running. So again, the temperature readouts that you're seeing on the screen are the temperature readouts that I'm using. And it's reading 0, which is never a good start. Okay, let me go ahead and just restart that service. Sorry guys, give me a second. Ah, it's crashed. There's the first time. So the temperature reading streaming service has died. Let me try and restart it. Okay, so that's back. Let's go ahead and power up and connect up our voltages. So the first one I'm going to connect into is DDR. And let's just have a look at where we got that. So I've got no voltage readings there. Let's connect the next one up to CPU. I've got no voltage readings there. So I think the application has crashed again. Okay, there it goes, updating. Okay, so our voltage readouts look like they are working. So V1 is CPU and V2 is DDR. So on the screen what I'm talking about down here, we've got V1 and V2. So those are real-time voltage readouts of what I've got set on the motherboard. And I've connected them up to the V readouts in this area over here. Right, so I've got approximately 20 minutes to get a score done. Let's see what we can crack out. Okay, that Southbridge is getting warm. Maybe we throw a pot onto it. Okay, so we seem to be in a bit of a post loop here quickly. 6F, let's just reseat the memory. Okay, let's try clearing the BIOS. 55, yeah. Okay, so we got a problem with one of the DIMMs. Let's just give me 55 errors. So now what we do is we'll take out one bank, get it to boot up. Till we find the problem child. Hey, thanks for tuning in. How's your weekend going? Nothing merely exciting happening here just yet? Okay, so we're still hitting 55s with that bank of memory out. We'll remove here. And reseat. Okay, so basically what's happening is I'm getting a 55 postcode. So it's not, I've either got a memory channel down or I've over tightened or something to that effect. So I'm just trying to debug what's going on. And this is the exact reason why I normally test the rig before going live, is because you don't want to go live and then be faced with stuff like this straight away. It just really starts you off on the wrong foot. Okay, let's get other sticks of memory out and have a look see. I don't think it's memory sticks though. We can also try the other bias and see, but that's just going in a 55 loop. The other silly thing we could check is plug the wireless back in. Maybe there's something silly. It's trying to initialize the wireless. That shouldn't really. 55 is definitely memory. Okay. Okay. So what we do is we'll just go ahead and unmount completely. Lucas, yes, I am South African. I'm based up in Johannesburg. Alright, so what we do is we just remove all of this, unseat the CPU, reseat the CPU, and retry. Everything's good there. Everything's good there. Okay. So let's see if we've got any magic happening. Okay, so we're back. Right, so let me explain to you what happened there. Because I've only got 20 minutes, everything decided to just be a pain in the ass. So what happened is when I mounted the pot, there must be some sensitivities on this board to mounting pressure. So in a nutshell, I over tightened, which then caused a problem on it pushed the chip down, which then means the pins weren't making good contact in the correct places. So by doing that, I basically wasn't able to train the memory at all. And the only way to come back from that, I mean, even loosening wasn't fixing the problem. So the only way to come back from that was to totally unmount and loosen the socket to reset the pin positions, and then remount and then go again. So we basically now know that the board is a little sensitive to overmounting, so we've got to take a lot more caution when mounting your pot. Okay, so let's get rid of this and get some new thermal paste. Oh, it's the same as before. I'm just putting a layer on equally as possible. And let's get the pot back on. So what's going on here? Before we do that, let's give it a good old-fashioned rub down. A big ridge. I think that CPU needs to be lapped as well. It's left a mark on my pot that wasn't there before mounting. Okay. Alright, so you can see on the pot, just about over there. I don't know if you can see that. Let me just move the chat. So what I'm talking about is on the base of my pot, you can sort of see there, it's left a new mark that was never there before, and that's actually going into the base. These things do take a lot of torture, that's for sure. Alright, so same again, let's just put some paper towels in. So I'm really cutting it fine for my next appointment. Unfortunately, I've got guests coming over for a Saturday afternoon get-together. So this is really going to be a quick session. And Kavar, am I saying it right? Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, I can play some tunes. I had a little bit of copyright infringement issues with Facebook and our playlist on SoundCloud. We've got a playlist there that's basically not got any copyrighted music on it, but now we're under dispute. So I'm trying to resolve that dispute before I go back to playing the playlist, because what happens is I kill my bloody stream every time for the guys on SoundCloud. And copyright infringements is such a difficult thing to deal with sometimes. So I do apologize for not being any tunes today. I promise to have that resolved by next stream, the week after next. If you want, I can sing you a very bad song. But let's rather just keep it civil, shall we? So we'll get this all mounted up, and we're really not going to apply that much pressure this time. Just really just to hold the pot in place, I think is going to be more than adequate. Right, so Geekbench 3, we'll be running that on Windows 8.1 today, and it does scale with memory clocks, and it does scale with frequency. So what we need to focus on is getting the maximum core frequency as well as the maximum memory frequency, and then tighten up those timings. What I'm going to focus on is getting the CPU to 5.1, probably around minus 95 on the processor, and then the memory, I think, yeah, 3200, 3400 maybe. We'll see what posts and what trains. Okay, so back again. Let's do sanity checks. Power on, power on. And we're training. Alright, so CPU is at 36 degrees. Let's get that down while we go into Windows for the first time. Now, I'm looking for a little heat sink I can just pop onto that. Actually, I'm just going to put a fan onto it and be done with it. Alright, so I think we can now switch the view and have a look at what's going on in the BIOS. Okay, up and running. So that only took us about an hour from flashing the BIOS to preparing the board with Vaseline for first run, mounting the pots and getting going. It's not terribly bad. Typically in the competition environment you're given about an hour and a half for preparation. In the nice competitions you get up to 2 hours preparation. But what you also need to do is prepare a video card 9 times out of 10. So we would have been in trouble if this was a live competition. We would have eaten away into our competition time getting the preparation work done. Okay, so things I need to check quickly in Windows. I need to make sure that we've got a version of Command Center that is working with this board. And the ME drivers and all that sort of stuff should be pretty much the same as the Rampage 5 edition 10 that I was using. So let me quickly just have a look at drivers. We're on broadwell-e. I need to create a folder here for X99A. And I downloaded a version of Command Center earlier for the X99, so it should run on this board. The normal one we use is the Hot Edition. I think it's only for Z170. Right, so let's go ahead and just have a look what we've got going on. Right, Intel Core i7 6950X. Okay, and memory, we've got 16 gigs running at 1800, so 3600. Right, and there you can see I'm running the HyperX 2666 C15. These have got the AFR IC on them, and they clock fairly well for what they are. I'm just waiting for my USB key. Drivers, broadwell-e, X99A, and the Command Center light here. Right, so we'll go ahead and just make sure we should have left it open. That is actually changing settings, so we can have a look at the voltage settings, I guess. V2 is DDR, and V1 should be CPU. Let's just get some more light. Good. Okay, it doesn't look like those voltage readings are accurate at all. Core DDR VCC in. Okay, first things first, change that to 39. Okay, so multipliers work. The next thing we'll check is our base clock. Oh, cancel, apply. Okay, base clock works. And then CPU voltage, 1.2, apply. Okay, 1.2. So we've got full Command Center control. Good to rock and roll. Let's sort the VGA out. And let's just copy that to desktop. See apps, paste. BGA, screen resolution. Okay, so let's just install that quickly and be done with it. This is 32-bit, 64-bit. Pro 64-bit, okay. Mm, 368, I think, yeah. Oh, Windows 8. Right, so let's have a look on HWBot as to what sort of targets we can be looking at for Geekbench on the X99 setup. So what sort of targets, what sort of score we should be expecting to see if we're on par or not. So this is a 10-core processor. So at 5G, you're looking at about 45,000 score. Okay. So the first thing you do is try and clock the CPU. Let's get into, let's see what we got here. Simple, advanced, extreme OC, LN2 extreme. Sounds good. Let's just have a look to see, does that disable all of our integrated peripherals? Onboard LAN, yeah. That's all good. Okay, and let's go OC mode. And oh, I can just jump into 50, I guess. 42. 42 might be too high, I guess. I don't know, 40. With DRAM, we'll leave it auto for now. Digital power in. Okay, that's all been set to us by the profile. Okay, so what we need to worry about is our VCC in, I think 2.1 or 2.2. I'll set to manual. Oh, adaptive, okay, so then set the core voltage to 1.6. We'll try that to start. 1.5. SA, we can leave it auto. VCCRO, I think, was auto. And then CPU ring OC2 voltage. Not too sure what that is for. We'll play with it later. Okay, so let's see. That should give us, that should be enough for 5G maybe 1.65. Let's try that and see where we get. I did save that, right? Yeah. I will keep pushing it. Okay, so that locked up and I saved. Okay, so we're freezing on 91 postcode. Let's clear it and start again. Okay, let's take this in baby steps, one setting at a time. Let's find our perpetrator. Yep, that worked. Might have just been the cache. It's too high. 4.2 might have been too much. Come on, get into Windows. Let's get this over with. Then I might picked it up as a new installation again. Is Windows 10, Windows 8 being ridiculous. Okay, so I'm hitting 15-minute warnings here on my watch. We're going to have to shake a... I don't know what that is. We're going to have to shake a leg. Alright, well that's 5G. Memory and Northbridge and cache are terrible. Let's go ahead and get a baseline, see if we are at least stable at that. Temperature's 88. Let's try and put the fluke on quickly to see what the offset is. 88. So that's ready. It's close. It's good. Okay, so I can use that as accurate. Right, so we're looking for the region of 45 to be sort of on par. I'm guessing this is going to be in the region of 38. Okay. Our memory is not set in our Northbridge. I mean, our cache frequency is right down. Ah, 43. So that's not terribly far off. I was looking for a score of 45 to be competitive at 5G. Okay, we go ahead and we've got to save that profile. We've got to submit it with the save 43317. And let me actually just copy that onto a memory stick and try and upload it just to make sure I'm meeting all the requirements of the save file before we go ahead and finish the session. ProOC, and we'll just make this a new folder. This PC documents, okay. Right, the next thing we'll do is we'll set the cache frequency and see where that stops, and then we'll set the memory. Let's just save a screenshot with that as well. Well, the interesting thing will be to see if we go and set that cache frequency, does it scale? It should scale. Actually thinking about this now. I'm using the wrong CPU. I just locked up. Okay. Let's reboot and set the cache frequency. I'll download the latest CPZ for MSI. Why did I lock up? You know what? I think that 91 is called boot bug, because this was definitely working. We're at minus 94, but we're not booting. We were at minus 80 earlier when we booted. So this CPU might have a terribly low cold boot bug. Let's test that theory. Yes. Wow, okay. Which means we could have cold bugged earlier. That's why we froze in Windows. That could have been, it could have been a problem. This could be a tricky CPU, if that is the case. Okay. Okay, it does not look like we need to save the file for validation. So let's go ahead and just set that cache. Let's reboot into the BIOS. DrWeez's tip of the day. Save your profile in case you need to reset. Okay, so we're going to set that CPU ratio, we're going to set that ring ratio to 42, we'll start there, and ring voltage 1.55, we'll start there. Temperature, I'm going to try and keep it around 85, I guess, and then when we're running benchmarks, maybe as cold as minus 90. Okay, so we hit 91 there again at 84. So what I'm seeing here now is the board has locked up completely. So I don't think that was cold boot bug. I think that's actually cache voltage or cache frequency is too high. Let's see what it does now. Temperatures are 74, 79, 91, 95. Okay, so it's posted. So cold boot bug is low on this CPU. I need to be minus 75, minus 76. So it looks like this is going to be a really tricky CPU to find the balance on booting and then on running. Let's just go apps. Ah, 4.2 and 5G. Cold water. Right, so we want to keep it around minus 85 maybe in Windows. Let's just see if we can run that. This one here. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not running that. I want to run. Okay, so we look like we are stable at 4.2 cache and 5G on the processor, and voltage set is I think 1.6 on the CPU and 1.55 on the cache. If this runs, what we'll do is we'll just go up one multiply and see if we can still run the whole Mary, and then we'll set the memory, get our run in, and call this a day. I've got guests arriving in 20 minutes now. So at 44, it definitely scaled, and I'm just going to go ahead and save that. And I want to just get a screenshot in quickly so that I've got a score. So if I don't get another run in, I've at least got a score. Definitely not efficient for the megahertz. I am behind, but again, I don't have any memory timing set. I'm still running 1066 on the memory. So I guess there's about 1,000, maybe 2,000 points in the memory settings. Come on. Okay, and just snip tool that. Save it. 440991. So the reason why I don't have screen grab on this drive is because XTU and that utility aren't friends. So I use snap tool. But let me just quickly copy it on here. Pictures. Okay. Let's go ahead and up that multiplier and see where we are. 65 degrees. Hey, I wonder if we can use this. Okay. Okay, so at 51, a competitive score, if we compare it to what we've got going on HWBot, 5.1, sort of looking at 48,000 is where we should be. But we've crashed, Lua. Okay. So we're not going to worry too much about that. That was just, I'm sure maybe with 1.65 volts we might be able to do that, but let's get the memory tuned and let's get a score in at 5G, and then we can always just jump up in the memory as we go. I was only able to do stage 1 at 5G on my ES CPU. This retail chip feels a little bit better, but this is my first session with it. I needed like 4 or 5 sessions to really max out a CPU. First session, you're really just going up and down, trying to see where you can go. Alright, so let's go DRAM. And let's start off at 3200. And we got a memory presets on here, which is quite nice. So we can go ahead and just load up a preset. 4x4 gig, 3200 C10. Yeah, let's try that. 1.65 volts. DRAM timing mode. And 10, 13, 14. That might be a little bit tight, I think. Let's try. And then for the CPU DDR voltage, DRAM 1.65, 1.65. Okay, let's see what happens. $55. That looks like it's training. 79, 91, 95. Come on, there we go. Yeah. So we've trained successfully at 3200 C10 on these AFRs. Let's see if we're stable in Windows. So these HyperX memory modules. Okay, so we're not stable there. These HyperX Fury memory modules are rated at C15, 2666 C15 at 1.35 volts. The AFR RC that they've used on them is quite nice for overclocking. They do scale very well. but it largely comes down to IMC as well. That's not good. Let's try one lower. Let's try a different preset. Let's try that. Kingston 4x4. Oh, okay. It's also changing my base clocks and all that. So let's just go 40, 38, 32, 34. One input. Let's try that. That looked to have trained first time. No 55s. Let's get into wind blows. And let's get a score. Come on, boots. Thank you. Right, let's have a look at what we've got set up here. Okay, so that multiplier is no good. That's fine. That's fine. So let's just have a look at what's going on here. Let's go 40, 42, 40. It all looks good. Okay. Let's see what score we get. Yeah. All right. Past the tough bits. Now it's just to finish. Okay, and well, I remember. I need to take photos. 45. Pretty good. Okay. It's pretty much where I expect it to be at 5G with the memory timing set. So that is the equivalent of, if you have a look at the score, I think 2-less. Oh, he got 47 at 5G, so I'm 2,000 points behind. Oh, dearie dear. Time for more tinkering. Okay, but anyway, let's just go and see if we can get any more out of this. I think my operating system is possibly my downfall here. What operating system was he using? Looks like he's using Windows 10. I haven't done any operating system testing with Geekbench. I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but I'm having a look at my scores, and there's definitely, I'm up on like the floating point, but down on integer and memory. In fact, memory, I'm even up on his score. My integer score, multi-score, is 10,000 points lower than his. So that's definitely where I'm losing out. So it could be operating system. I need to investigate that, but I'm not going to have time for it today, unfortunately. On this, I'm going to just try upping the base clock now, just to try and see if we can maybe brute force. It could be, you know what it could be? It could be on memory. I'm only running 16 gigs of memory. See, he's running 32 gigs of memory. That could be the problem. I'm not too sure. I'll have to do some testing. For now, let's just try and push that score a little bit further, and then we'll get our final runs in. We'll wrap this up. I have to call it a day in 8 minutes time. I really should be done here. I don't think we'll wrap up that quickly, but that's what I'm expecting. So let's just go up a base clock and run that again. So my temperature is very low. We've got to watch that cold bug now. Okay, I think that score's lower. Let's go up another base clock and see if we run. And then from here, I think we're going to save the score and call it a day. I've run out of time. Yep, so we've crashed there. Let's go ahead and reboot. We'll set it up one base clock, we run again, and then call it a day. I do have a 32 gig set of memory here I can give it a try on. So what was Toolis running? Yeah, his memory timings were also 12, 12, 12. Yeah. So I'm at 45. Yeah, I don't even break into the top 20. To be honest, I'm not beating people that are running 4.7. So either there's something very wrong with my Geekbench 3, or it's really down to that memory timing. So I basically gained 1,000 points from 43 to 44 by changing the CPU cache, from 44 to 45 by increasing the memory frequency. I think his memory timings might also just be a little bit iffy, to be honest. It's taking an awfully long time to post and to boot. I'm not 100% happy with that. Okay, let's just get a score. Let's just move on. We'll come back and have another look at this when I've got time. Oh, no, I'm not going to wait for hours. Okay, let's try that. $70, $79, $91, $95. Okay, we're good to go. That's interesting. That's memory timings. Has to be. Alright, let's just get a score. Save it and call it a day. So what this test should now show us, if we're still scoring around 35.2, it's memory frequency that it's scaled with more than memory timings. If we score lower, then it scales with frequency and timings. If it scores around about the same, or if it scores higher, then it's frequency and then also maybe capacity. So those are the next things I need to have a look at. But that will be reserved for another day. Okay, so let me take this opportunity to say thank you everyone for tuning in. Yeah, that's definitely timings. It definitely scales with timings as well. We had 75 on multi-core there before. So let me take this opportunity to say thank you to everyone for tuning in. I want to just once again thank Intel South Africa for supporting me for this season of the ProOC Cup, and to HyperX for supplying us with the memory for the full years with the ProOC. It really has been a great help to have that type of support. Guys, I'm going to sign off while I'm saving the score and then just wrap up all the streaming. I will be coming to you not next week, unfortunately. I am in the DRC for a business trip. I will be returning the following week, and then we'll be wrapping up the MSI OC Godlike competition on the 31st. So I'll be bringing a couple more sessions around that competition, and then yeah, we're back to the ProOC the following week. So thanks again for stopping past. If you've got any questions or comments, please do drop me a private message on Facebook. I love hearing from everyone, and the feedback's always nice to have, whether it's positive or negative. I really don't mind. We're always looking for ways to improve things. If you haven't already subscribed to me on Twitch or on Facebook, you know, you like to keep up to date with when I stream live, you don't like watching the replays, well, I'd suggest just signing up to Twitch and following me there. You'll get notification of whenever I go live, and then you'll be able to catch the streams. Other than that, I think I'm going to just wrap this up and say happy benching. Until next time, happy benching. Get it right. Alright, so adios.